to look for when putting together your own Zoom setup. My name is Michael, and I'm from MKE Video in Milwaukee, where we're disrupting the way people create video content. Your host today is the owner of MKE Video, Jon Taylor, and he's going to be taking you through the different camera options and explaining what to look for. Jon, you want to pop in here today?
Absolutely. How you doing today there, Michael?
I'm doing great. Good to see you.
Yeah.
All right.
It's going to be a great show. So we're excited to talk about cameras today. We're going to get into some nitty gritty on some cool gear and some things that we can do to help our audience present better. Because if we can present better, we can make more money online. So I'm going to go ahead and turn Michael's camera off since he just shut himself off. So anyways, my name is Jon Taylor, the Zoom Ninja from MKE Video. And we're coming to you live from Studio A5 here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, shortly before the snowstorm. And we're really excited to talk cameras today. So when we talk about cameras, we're going to do a couple of different things. And let me just pull this up real quick. We talk about our makeover, and doing the makeover means that we are going to, excuse me, when we talk about doing a makeover, we're going to be intentional about our presentation. We're going to take time to show up in our best self. And when we do that, we can get away from the Zoom fatigue that plagues some of us as we go through this new time of creating content. Now, I love Zoom. I don't want to have Zoom fatigue, so I try to do as many things as I can to reduce the fatigue of the lights and by seeing too many people and by presenting myself. And a lot of that's preparing my mind, body, and spirit. So what that looks like is I have to get up in the morning and I have to move my body around. I have to get the blood and oxygen going so that I'm vibrant and in my best self. Now, once I'm there, I can deliver really good content, and we take time to prepare a show and to prepare the information that we're going to deliver to you. So today we're going to talk about cameras. And when we talk about Zoom, here's one thing. The bar is pretty low when it comes to Zoom calls. A lot of people are doing, they're showing up. They're not taking time to adjust lights or camera. They're just opening up the laptop, staring down at it, and sometimes they don't even wear pants. So to rise above that, the bar is pretty low, and with a little bit of effort, we can do that. And today we're going to talk about how that camera can fit into that equation. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was some things that we're going to cover. And we're going to talk about the camera, the lights, the audio, and the background, the framing, and the filters. So all of these things are simple things that you can do to help your presentation look better. So to start, let's look at the camera. The first thing that we can do is we can clean the optics. And to clean the optics, we use a simple rag. It's a camera lens cleaning rag to wipe off the glass every single time. Now, when you have a laptop, that little, when you open up the laptop, your thumb hits on the lid, and everything that's on your thumb ends up on the camera. So every time you open up your laptop, you're getting your optics dirty. So clean that off. Use a little rubbing alcohol or use a lens rag so that there's no lint, and clean up your optics. The second thing is to have your camera above eye level. So if you're looking up at your camera, you're presenting from a nurturing position. So if you've ever seen a movie, the teacher or the nurturer is always looking up at the camera. The evil villain is looking down at the camera, telling how they're going to destroy the world and kill everybody or do whatever they're going to do. So the position of the camera tells part of your story. Looking down at the camera is a dominant position, and looking up at the camera is a nurturing, teaching position. So the other thing that you can do with your camera in that eye level is it's going to soften up some features you may not want to highlight. Like I don't want to highlight under my eyes. I don't want to highlight what's going on up my nose, and I don't want to highlight what's going on under my chin. So by having the camera come down, it hides all of those. The lights also reduce and smooths that area out. So when we're using lighting, we're going to talk about the lights next. Lighting softer is better, and let the camera do the work. So a camera, in this particular case, we're using a ridiculously expensive camera, but we're going to show you what other cameras look like so that you have a good idea of the whole range. When a camera can do the work, it's going to capture the light and it's going to create shadows. If you overdo the light, then it's just going to blow out the features, and it's going to create something like this, where it's just really washed out because you're using too much light. So we want to avoid doing that by letting the camera do the work. And softer is better. So we use a softbox on the light to diffuse it and soften up the look. In this particular case, we're using a microphone that is an external microphone, because when people are surveyed on what's more important, audio or video, they'll turn something off with poor audio before they'll turn it off with poor video. So how you sound is almost more important than how you look. So make sure that you have a good microphone. Your background, we're going to want that to be uncluttered, and we're going to be conscious of the color. We use a blue color in our background because that's the inversion of my skin, and that makes my skin look healthier. And framing is another important factor. Now, when you see an introvert, they're going to be like this. They're going to be hiding off to the side of the screen, or they do the ziggy thing where you can barely see their face. There's nothing wrong with being an introvert, and it's okay if you are. I want you to be aware of how you frame yourself tells part of the story and tells part of your presentation. So if you'd like people to know, like, and trust you, the standard position is when the bottom of the camera is here and the top of the camera, there's just a small amount of space above your head. If you watch every newscast, you're supposed to trust the person who's telling you the news. This is how they're positioned. They're also positioned looking slightly up at the camera. You can never see underneath. You can never see under here. It's very specific. If you ever are concerned about how you look or how you look at a newscast. It's going to give you a lot of information. So those are the basics. And now what we'd like to do is like to have Michael give you a presentation on cameras and the different kind of cameras that we can use to look better. But before we do that, I just want to give it to Michael because I'm going to do that after. I changed my mind. There we go.
All right. Okay, well, I'm just going to take you through some basic point and shoot cameras. Now, there are different options when you have a webcam on top of your monitor. Obviously, if you have a laptop, it's going to have a built-in camera that is usually just kind of a run-of-the-mill, middle of the road, very simple camera. It doesn't have depth of field. It tries to capture everything. Like the old, they're kind of like those old smartphone cameras that were always really just like flat, and they didn't really focus on anything, and they didn't really create a good picture. So if you want to upgrade from there are many options, especially if you want to move the camera around. And maybe you want to have your laptop in one part of your desk and a camera somewhere else. You can get webcams, like the USB plug-in webcams. And those allow you to move the camera around, and some of them can be really good. But what we're going to be talking about today is looking into getting a professional grade look, which is going to give you that look that we saw with Jon, with the beautiful soft background and the nice clean look around the face. Now, if you look at me, I'm actually I'm in front of a green screen right now, but I do have a good lens and I do have a professional camera. But you notice that my voice is not really syncing very well with my mouth. It's because I'm using a utility. I'm just demonstrating this for you today. I'm using a utility that's built by Canon to use one of their DSLR professional cameras and turn that into a webcam using the USB cord. Now, as you notice, it's kind of choppy. If I move around, I judder and stutter a little bit as I move around the frame. And it's not great. There are going to be better and not so good webcam utilities for professional cameras. And so we're going to take that into consideration when I go over these. So I'm going to open up a PowerPoint for you. And I'm going to just, I'm going to show you, first of all, look at the top of this image here. We have just a little chart that I put together. And as you can see, there's the RX100s, which are all those MK3, MK4, MK6, and MK7. Those are 4 marks of the same RX100. Now, those came out in like 2014, 2016, 2017. And then the Mark 7 came out last year, or a year and a half ago in 2019. And they slowly got better, but sometimes they would lose some of the features. And so I kind of put together this chart to show you the differences between these. The reason that I chose the RX100, it's a Sony camera. Sony has the best webcam utility on the market, and their professional cameras are all very good. They all have a 1-inch image sensor and really good aperture, which again is going to give you that nice soft background behind your face. So if we look at this, we'll notice that those over the last 5 years, they kind of developed and grew. And then only in the last few months did Sony release the ZV-1, which is kind of their replacement new version. It's made for vloggers. If you look over here, this is actually the ZV-1 right next to me. The one behind my head is the older version of it. I'm gonna kind of hide myself here. So the one on the bottom left, that's the old version. Those are the RX100s. They all have flip out. Not all of them, but most of them have a flip out display. Some of them are touchscreen displays. As you notice, they brought those in on Mark 6 and Mark 7, if you look at my chart. But they evolved. And right now, the top of the evolution is the ZV-1. And if you look at all of the specs, you'll notice that it's actually about $550 cheaper than getting the most recent RX100. So as far as price point goes, it is top of the line features and specs, and it's a complete bargain. If you can find one of these, absolutely, we highly recommend them. They shoot in 4K. They have a very, very low f-stop, that at 1.8, that's going to give you that really soft background. They have a great 1-inch image sensor. They have an external mic. If you want to take it around and use it for a portable camera, they're only 10 ounces. They're less than a pound. And you can plug in a microphone right into them, and you can stream from all over outside, on location. You can use it to video blog anywhere you are, or set it up as a portable Zoom station if you want to move around or travel while you're Zooming. It's very highly portable, and it's the one that we recommend the most. The other 2 options you'll notice, just for comparison, so Panasonic makes one called the Lumix, and the Lumix is a series that they have, much like the RX100 is a series, and the FZ1000 Mark II is their most recent point-and-shoot camera. Now, none of these cameras that I'm showing you today have detachable lenses. They're all built in, and they're all high-quality lenses. And they all actually do zoom to a different degree if you want to do some zoomed photography outside, or like if you ever go in nature and you want to see something close up, they have good zooms. The difference, though, with the Panasonic Lumix FZ1000 Mark II is that its zoom is, it'll use the lens without degrading any quality to zoom up to 16 times. And if that's something that you really want, if that's something you're really interested in having in a feature, the 16 times optical zoom will allow you to see something that's that small and it'll blow it up in full HD on your screen. It's like having a telescope on your camera, and it offers that that camera angle. The other ones only go about 3 times the size, so it's like taking something like this and blowing it up. But that's the one defining feature that really sets the Panasonic Lumix apart from the rest. It's also about 2 pounds. It's about almost over 3 times heavier than the other point and shoot cameras. But again, you don't have to buy any lenses or anything else. You can just use that. They all have really good batteries, and they all have webcam utilities. And again, Sony's going to have a better webcam utility. And the final one on my list is just the GoPro Hero 9, which is, you know, the GoPros are great for some things, and they're mostly going to be your best bet if you do outside, fast-paced, rough and tumble photography where you want to get high frame rates, and you want to get, let's say you're recording some sort of X Games or skiing or swimming, because they're waterproof and they're portable and they show everything. But again, they're not going to have any kind of softness in that. They don't have any aperture control. It's just going to be a flat picture where everything's in focus and nothing's out of focus. So there's no softness to it. And it's also going to have a very, very wide angle. We're talking close to 180-degree angle lens. That's going to take all the information from your left and your right, and it's going to squeeze it into a tiny picture that's going to distort your image. So it's going to look kind of like the center is big and bubbly and the sides are squished. And you can't really adjust that. There's nothing to do that you can do with that. You can't zoom with it with an optical zoom, because again, it's just one little box camera. And although, you know, it's only $400 to get it, GoPro likes to add up, make you buy a bunch of accessories to add on to it to make it really useful. So you're going to end up spending probably about, you know, the same price as the ZV-100 if you would go that route, and it wouldn't do everything that you want it to do for a Zoom call. So again, those are the options you have for just the basic point and shoot cameras that you don't have to get any lenses for, but they're all professional level, high quality video cameras, and they all shoot in beautiful high definition. And aside from the GoPro, they all have excellent lenses that allow you to zoom, and they allow you to or like zoom in, I meant, and allow you to soften the background. So that's what I have for you today regarding the options for the professional cameras you can use for zooming. John, you want to jump back in?
I totally do. Thank you so much. That was great, Michael. Your name is on my on my thing. Look at that. There we go.
Identity theft.
There we go. So that's wonderful. I'm going to just show everybody a few cameras before we sign off, and just expand a little bit on what you said. So let me go here and show what we are talking about. So one thing that we do is use Blackmagic. You'll hear that a lot. And the Blackmagic cameras they're expensive, they're big, they're overkill for zoom. And we use them because they connect with our switchers. And so when you see beautiful graphics like this, we use these for broadcasting because we broadcast that's what we do for a living. So we need that. What you need for your Zoom, though, is something easy that connects simply to your computer. And that might be the Sony. ZV-1, of course, is our favorite camera. And if you look at our YouTube channel, there is a ZV-1 video on there. It's called The Camera Show. And it's going to go over the entire camera, exactly what it looks like, and where you can get one. So what I did want to show you is the difference between fancy cameras and cheap cameras. So the camera we're on right now is an expensive Blackmagic with an expensive lens on it. It's overkill for what Zoom is capable of doing. or YouTube is capable of doing. But you can see that there's a lot of crispness. You can see the detail in my hair. You know, it's a really nice feed. What I'm going to do is switch to another camera. Now this is a bought at a garage sale little handy cam. You know, it's as small as you can get. I spent $50 on this or something, or $30. Someone just had it at a garage sale, so I decided to buy it. But it's a handy little camera for demonstration. Here's what this camera is doing. Let's look at how those two cameras look. When we see it, you know, I'm washed out in color here, or flat, because I intentionally made my color flat. And here it's just going to auto color it. So it's going to grab all the colors and just turn up the saturation. And that's pretty good. You know, a lot of these point and shoot cameras, they do a lot of that work for you so that you can create, you don't have to worry about adjusting color temperatures and that kind of thing. One thing that these cameras do, though, is as I move, you'll see that the camera slightly shifts. Now it's not doing it. I'm not moving the camera. It's auto-focusing and face detecting, so it's going to move around. So if you're very animated and you're in front of the camera doing things like that, a lot of these point and shoot cameras are going to do things like automatically adjust the color, chase your face, when sometimes they get focused on something that's not there. Like right now, I think the camera is more focused on the chair behind me than it is on my face. Or it's just kind of a cheap camera, and that's why the focus isn't real sharp on it. I just wanted to give you an example of how the two cameras look. And what another thing that these cameras are going to do is they're going to take the backlight and they're going to just attach to that, like whites and blacks. So if you have big bright white light coming in from your window, it's going to attach to that. Or if you have the black behind you like this, it's going to attach to that and really use that as like the black level, and make it very high contrast. So that's an example of the two different kinds of cameras. Let's go back over to camera one. And that's just a really nice soft look. And like I said, we have some more cameras available to look at on our YouTube page. So if you go to our YouTube page or our Facebook page, you can see the ZV-1 show where we talk about the Sony ZV-1 and how wonderful of a camera it is. So for now, that's all we have for today, and I really appreciate you stopping by. I'm going to go ahead and turn Michael's camera on so we can say goodbye together.
It was my pleasure to join you all today. Thank you for taking a look at our video, and yeah, we hope that you find this educational, and next time join us live and give us your feedback and tell us what you think, and show us your setup. We'd love to see it.
That'd be great. Until then, create, connect, and make an impact. Okay, I don't know where's the off button.